Luxury is only for the poor. This is the sentence that I have heard, read, seen everywhere lately, from social media to some articles to people talking around me. And this is just utter bull. Hi friends, and welcome to another video. If this is your first time here, my name is Veronica. I am a TV presenter and journalist, and my channel is all about fashion, be it style or new items that I bought, or some fun chat about fashion news. I tend to navigate towards luxury fashion, but you will see occasional other brands, including Zara, on this channel as well. So if this is something that interests you, well, stick around, and of course don't forget to like and comment on this video, and of course subscribe. All right, so luxury is only for poor people. Rich people do not buy luxury items anymore. So how many times did you either hear or read this sentence in the last month? If you are into fashion, I'm pretty sure you heard it multiple times because it's everywhere lately, and it could not be further from the truth. All of the high luxury brands really increased prices in the last 2 years, and with some brands like Chanel, they are just extortionate. I mean, they actually doubled the price of their classic bags in the last like 2 or 3 years. It's insane what's happening there, and this is kind of like the conclusion we get from it, that they're trying to push out anybody who's not filthy rich, because nobody else can afford these prices. And I already discussed this in one of my previous videos, that I'm not sure if people who have a lot of money will actually buy enough of these crazy priced items to kind of fill the gap that us who are not filthy rich left with, by not buying anymore. So I was thinking out loud, just trying to kind of understand what's happening, but then I thought, okay, let me do a bit of research. And the fun part is that the truth is actually the opposite. The top 2% of rich people in the world are actually buying more and more. And we now have data that says that 40% of all the sales of high luxury brands actually go to this 2% of very rich people. So even though 60% is still based on others, which is still of course more than half, but because still 40% of them are buying things, this doesn't mean that rich people are not buying these items anymore. This information was really surprising to me, because I was kind of leaning more towards maybe 70-30 or even 80-20 difference between these really rich people and the rest of us. So it's actually 60-40, which is surprising, and it actually makes sense why a lot of luxury brands are actually doing a new approach in the last year or so. None of the things that these well-known brands are doing are new. They existed since the brands itself probably existed, but they're tweaking the way they reach out to this top 2% very rich people. And you always had VIP clients, even in Chanel or Hermes, of course, Hermes, Yves Saint Laurent, Dior, any kind of this old heritage brands. They always had like a special tier of customer, VIP customer, who would have like first dips on a new collection, or they would have some extra perks, or in some cities they could actually get multiple items from a new collection delivered at home without any charges, and they would kind of pick out what they want and send the rest back. So this is the level that they usually preserve for those really top rich clients, but now they're actually doing even more. So they are concentrating more on those clients. So it's not like they want to push the rest of us out, but they are just shifting focus a bit more on the actual rich clients, because their wallets are less prone to recession than the rest of us, because they have more disposable income, I guess, and they can spend more. And we have like Gucci actually opened its first by appointment salon in Los Angeles, and this is not a place that you can just walk into. It's like a secret place where you get invited to buy your essay, and then you can shop the new collection, or you can tell them what you want to buy and they will find it for you, which again is something that existed before, but now it's just on another level. And they actually go out of their way to attract this kind of customer, this really rich customer. Obviously you want your customers to be rich because, you know, they're going to buy more, but that doesn't mean they're just going to be throwing their money away. They will want their money's worth. And this is where the shift comes now in the last year or two, that they actually added extra perks and extra things they do for this top 2% to not only get them, but to hold on to them, because it doesn't matter how much money you have, you will not be spending thousands and thousands and thousands of euros or dollars or whatever your currency is in 5 different brands each week. This is just not going to happen. You're going to be loyal to 1 or 2, and then you're going to browse the others. And this is where the fight between brands now actually comes in, because they want to lure the customer who is maybe more prone to be loyal to other brands and just occasionally shop with you, to switch to shop more with you and less with others. So this is the shift. It didn't existed before, so this is definitely new. And it's not just brands, even online luxury retailers have changed their tactics. Like Marie Theresa, for example, which is one of my favorites online stores. They have loads of events throughout the year when they invite these very special customers to special dinners, sometimes even at like designers' homes. So it's really something you cannot buy your way into directly. If you spend enough money at My Theresa, I guess, then you get invited. But so it's not just specific brands, you know, and while My Theresa again has been doing these events for years and years, they hike them up. There are more of them, they are more exclusive, they are more coveted, more special. If you're gonna spend 10,000 euros, for example, and then one retailer will give you this perks and the other will give you more, obviously going to go with the one who gives you more, especially because online retailers mostly sell pretty much the same things. It's just the number of items available that changes, and sometimes they have like special collections which are available only on this one specific retail webpage. So this is the difference sometimes between them, but mostly, you know, they sell designer items, so of course they're going to have the same thing. So this is another thing we can see difference in the last year, especially how they're going to try to entice this top 2% to not only shop with them but actually stay with them. Even Tiffany, for example, they didn't do like extra perks in a way of shopping habits, but they really hiked up their personalization tier. So if you are, you know, a VIP client at Tiffany, and I'm guessing other well-known high-end jewelry brands as well, you can personalize certain items that you and me couldn't. So that's another perk they're gonna get. And if the rich people would not be buying as much as they used to, all of these tactics will be useless, right? So this gives us another indication that they buy more than enough to justify all the price increases and everything else that's been happening in the last few years. Because obviously the brands, if nobody would buy them anymore, they would stop raising prices. It's just logical, mathematical solution. But because they're still hiking up the prices, somebody obviously has to be buying it. And while brands would try to not exactly steal, but kind of like entice more the customers of other brands, they would occasionally, you know, swap different talents. Like, for example, you would have head designer at, you know, Yves Saint Laurent, and he or she will then move on to Hermes, for example. This has happened before, but it was always kind of like behind the scenes. It was very rare that you would have a name that's associated with one brand who would then go and work for another very well known brand. Of course it happened. I mean, we have Tom Ford for that example, and Yves Saint Laurent, you know, he started working as a Christian Dior head designer and then moved to its own label. So mostly it will be in Marc Jacobs was with Louis Vuitton before he, you know, started his own brand. And usually you would see this kind of thing, that somebody would be well known at, you know, certain brand, and then they would kind of branch out on their own. Rarely you would see the same name associated with different brands, well-known brands, because this is a reason. Every good head designer will leave its mark on a brand, and if I leave my aesthetics and my designs on, let's say, Balenciaga, and then I move to Gucci, so what? Will Gucci just be new Balenciaga? It doesn't make sense. So it's kind of logical that they do not kind of swap talents in this category, head designer, but this actually happened right now. So Gucci actually took quite a well-known name from Louis Vuitton. So while the head designers are usually not kind of swapped between different brands, it's a different story for managers. And one of the key managers that Gucci appointed just a few days ago is actually a guy very well connected with Louis Vuitton. Stefano Cantino will be joining the CEO position at Gucci at May 2nd this year. His official role will be Deputy CEO, and his main role will be to support the CEO of Gucci, Jean-François Palou. So Palou took the helm of Gucci last autumn, so he's pretty new as well. And the creative direction of Gucci has been led by Sabato De Sarno since early last year. So if you combine all this, Gucci has changed a lot in the last year and a half. It changed a lot of its management team and also creative team. And if you remember our last chat about Kering and Gucci, it doesn't look good at the moment. For Gucci, the sales are falling and the revenue will be down, but they are kind of aiming with this new management that they're gonna turn the tide around. If that will be successful, we will know in a couple of months. So Stefano Cantino will be Deputy CEO, and this is actually a newly created position. So it's not like Stefano will be replacing someone. It's a new position created especially for him to come in and help support the CEO. I am definitely curious to see if this will change the tides of Gucci sales and their trajectory for the rest of the year. So for now, it looks that the main strategy of luxury brands will be to cultivate, to maintain their relationship with these top 2% rich people in the world and just kind of try to hang on to them. And if the rest of us continue to shop, fine. If not, I guess they're gonna have to start to care about us as well, because even though the numbers are different than I imagine, I really thought less rich people are buying luxury brands. It's still 60% of not top 2% rich people. So I just want to emphasize that whatever I say in these types of videos is of course for entertainment purposes only, and I do not have any first-hand information from any of these brands that I mentioned, and I do not know anybody at these brands who would give me any first-hand information. So whatever I'm telling you, I did my own research. I read a lot of different articles. Another thing that we kind of have to keep in mind, a lot of people kind of forget that when we are talking about top 1 or top 2% of rich people in the world, those are the people who have more money than certain countries. All right, we're talking this type of rich. And then of course you have in between other people who are also rich, who have castles, who have planes, but they're just not top 1 or 2% rich people. So when we look at the numbers, 40% of this top 1 to 2% rich people, so that's 60%. It's not just not rich people, obviously. This is the combination of like rich people who have private planes but do not have 3 islands, things like that. So it's not all middle income, or dare I say it, aspirational customer. I hate this phrase, but it is what it is. So it's a combination of different customers, backgrounds. So of course it's all mixed and intertwined. Another thing that I found really interesting regarding price increases. Okay, Chanel has really gone through the roof, and I still think that Chanel is in different category with this topic, within the topic of price increases. But with other luxury brands, if you go online and you search, let's say, good quality leather jacket, you will find, after some time searching, of course it's not going to be a first hit, because nowadays even high street boutiques will advertise high luxury leather jackets, and we all know that this is not what that is, but okay. So if you look for quality materials, you will find a leather jacket that is by a brand you have never heard of, that is by a brand that it's not a well-known brand, that it's not a brand that has like 100 years heritage. It was probably created in like 2015, but the price will be 1,500 euros. And then on the other hand, you will have Dior leather jacket, which will be 6,000 euros or around that number. And then you will go, who pays 6,000 euros for a leather jacket? But if we switch the perspective, if a no-name brand that nobody associates themselves with that brand, at least not yet, if that brand can survive and sell enough jackets for 1,500 euros, Dior will not sell them for 3,000 because it's Dior. Of course, they're gonna raise the price 3 times that much. And I was really surprised lately by Pinko. Pinko was never a cheap brand, but it was not crazy expensive either. You would get their bags between 200 and 300 euros. And they're good quality bags. I mean, of course, you cannot compare Pinko to Chanel and Dior. But the reason why I'm talking about Pinko is because I recently realized that their prices have also gotten insane. The bag that I know because I bought it less than a year ago for 220 euros is now 400 euros. It's the same bag, it's the same materials, it's the same hardware. Nothing has changed, just the price has gone up. So, you know, we see it on the small level. Obviously, everything is getting more and more expensive lately. If the middle brands are increasing their prices by 30-40%, of course the luxury high-end brands will do the same because they know they have to keep the same distance in price between the medium level brand and high level brand. Because, you know, if the lower one goes up and this one stays the same, the gap is less. So they have to go high. So this go up, and this just go on and on and on. And it's just kind of like a circle thing. Everything is, of course, connected. But the bottom line is up to us. It's up to you and me what we're gonna buy, what we're not gonna buy, and how we're gonna spend our hard-earned cash. Thank you guys for watching. Let me know your thoughts, and of course, have a lovely day, and I will see you in the next video.